Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for your time. Straight to you, Seth Bokpe. Give us the highlights of what you have eventually, as it were, summarized as what needs attention for solution.
All right. Thank you, Samson. We think that, first, let me go over the findings. So what we found is that at least 26 people who are either politicians, relatives of politicians, diplomats, or connected to our social elites had this scholarship. And I must emphasize that that is not all, because when we started serializing the full list, 6 people have been identified as the categories I mentioned earlier. And then we also found that at least 17 people received multiple scholarships, either in the same year or in consecutive years. For instance, you have a beneficiary, Matthias Abednego Bonnier, who received 807,192 cedis. That is if you convert his 81,948.46 Canadian dollars into cedis today. Now, that fee can actually cater for, when we did the value for money analysis, that fee can actually pay for 45 Master of Science in Project Management students at UPSA and 39 at KNUST. And you also found that majority of these courses that we spend money on outside are in Ghanaian universities. We also found that at least 104 of the beneficiaries are yet to return to Ghana, although they've signed bonds to do so. At least three of these beneficiaries have been living abroad in the last 5 years. And it will be interesting to find out how they even signed their bonds before they were given the scholarship. Now, contrary to claims that the Scholarship Secretariat provided more than 2,000, the names of more than 2,000 people to us as beneficiaries in 2019 and 2020, the number is actually 1,531. And let me give you a breakdown of it. 966 of these beneficiaries received foreign scholarships. 561 of them were for study abroad, that is the 1-year language program for French, Chinese, Spanish, and Swahili. And they had no figure attached to their names, nothing in terms of financial value attached to their names. So we could not have added them to our analysis. Somebody, for instance, was only captured as a black. I don't know how we'll be able to track this person's background. Now, we also think that the Scholarship Secretariat, as to speak now, does not have any guideline for the selection of applicants, apart from the criteria that you should be a Ghanaian and have a university admission. I think that is very basic. And then, contrary to the claim that the scholarship system, you heard the Vice President, for instance, mentioning it. Contrary to the claim that the award has been decentralized to the extent that if you go to the district level, you will get scholarship. That is for local universities. There's no evidence that those who went abroad were actually awarded at the district level. In fact, the Registrar of the Scholarship Secretariat told us that because of the cost involved, they do not award the foreign scholarship at the local level. So you have to apply in Accra. Now, how do you apply in Accra if there's no call for application? There is no publication of even the list of beneficiaries to make the process transparent. And then also, we found it interesting that when we interviewed Dr. Clement Apak, for instance, he said they are not able to hold the scholarship secretariat accountable because it is under the office of the president. I mean, when you hear the kind of allegations that come against the scholarship secretariat, including people saying they paid so much to get a scholarship, and then you have a situation where they are virtually shielded, then it becomes problematic.
There's a question that's been asked you. I think it's a lame one, though. You have received documents covering 1,531 beneficiaries of the scholarship, out of which 966 are foreign scholarships. And you have highlighted less than 30 who you say are the outliers. Why should that be sinful?
I think it is sinful because if you look at the argument had been that, oh, there's no law that regulates the scholarship secretariat. But if you marry the mandates of the scholarship secretariat from the Nkrumah days, and then its own mission, which is available on its website, which reads, our mission is to utilize government funds, get fund, and other donor support for the provision of scholarship to brilliant bandit students and qualified workers at a minimum access cost for human resource development for the purpose of national growth and development. Then it becomes problematic. It becomes problematic because these scholarships are going to Ghana's highest paid, Ghana's highest resource people. I mean, who are virtually competing against very poor people from Bunkrugu Yoyo, for instance. Or we're also talking about people who would not make it because they are not in a position to influence whatever decision the scholarship secretariat takes. If you have people like, for instance, Dr. Dennis Addo, the owner of Clarence Hospital at East Legon, who had $50,031. In the same year, another person qualified for that scholarship and had the same Harvard, the same program, and had a little over $25,000. Then you wonder what went into the decision making.
They tell you that you cannot be making the determination about who is needy in the way you are making it. How do you respond to that? The fact that someone is he the MD of the hospital or owner of the hospital, and that
he's the founder and owner, the CEO.
Yes, give us his details again.
So Dr. Dennis Addo, founder and CEO of the Clarence Hospital at Airport Residential Area, a former board member of the National Health Insurance Authority, a member of the MPP, who in fact contested the Echima-Wabieja South MPP primaries and lost recently.
Yes, he may have money to pay for primaries, but if he's going for education and it will be of benefit to the country, they should pay for him. What's your problem?
I don't think that is a prudent use of our resources, particularly when that particular course is also available at GIMPA. And as we speak, thousands of students are stranded abroad.
He's operating a health facility. He's saving lives at East Legon, at least, is he not?
Airport Residential Area, in fact, where some of the country's deepest pockets live. I don't think it is a justification for providing a scholarship to such a person. And also, if you marry the idea, which I mentioned to you earlier, that somebody had the same scholarship in the same year, probably his classmates as we speak, would be given $25,000. What went into that decision making? And also, if you take Fauzi Ramadan, the relative of the second lady, who will pay $17,355.
You have been reminded by the Scholarship Secretariat that when you mention that that person is connected to the First Lady, you should also mention that that person is more closely related also to the MP for, is it Adenta? Or is it?
Fair point.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Who is supposed to be an NDC MP?
Fair point. I mean, we are not doing political equalization. That's not the focus of our story. Neither are we targeting anybody. But a pattern emerged in the research, which we pointed out. But our concern is that in the case of this gentleman,
how could that escape you? That you are able to link this person to the First Lady, who doesn't bear the name Ramadan, and you are unable to link the person to the NDC MP who bears the name Ramadan. They say that's a problem with your work.
It was easy because we found that he was a personal assistant to him.
To her
and
or
then
him.
Also, if we want to argue about that, I think it would be far easier for somebody who is the second lead PA to get a scholarship because of the level of influence in that office compared to an MP in the opposition party. I think that should be clear. And also, I think that we should drive home the point that the £17,355 we paid for this gentleman went to waste. He didn't go to the school. He didn't attend because he said he had an accident and did not even defer the course. That is problematic. If you also have Charles Asma, who just flew by your screen, who lives in the UK, was a tax consultant and a lecturer in the university at the time he got a scholarship. He was the MPP. He currently is now actually the MPP treasurer in the UK. I mean, how do you justify that politics did not play a role in this?
You highlighted the diplomats who also received scholarships. The diplomats are serving the country, are they not? Does it matter that, they are diplomats and you think they should be able to earn enough to pay their fees on their own? And this was a colleague of mine who was also the, go back again, what's the name, the national, one of the institutions. Okay, so go on. So what's the point? They are diplomats. You highlight Freddie Blair's daughter, and you say the mother is a diplomat, the father is chairman of GMPC, the father has bought vehicles for all constituencies, but they are sponsoring her so she'll bring benefit to the country by studying law. And I think she's currently practicing in her private firm in Accra.
So again, Samson, we are talking about Lucy Blair, who is a managing partner of the law firm of the father, and who at the time is a qualified lawyer in Ghana. Then we are spending money to help her qualify to practice in England and Wales. And then the interesting thing, she comes back and was part of the legal team that defended Aisha Wang. Isn't that fascinating? Why do we have to pay for a lawyer, not even a state attorney, to go and qualify in England and Wales? To what benefit? How does that benefit us? I don't really get it.
Did the Freddie Blair firm defend Aisha Wang, or you wanted to refer to Efadate, who also did that job? Because that's the Efadate's son, who also you have highlighted, right?
No, I'm referring to Freddie Blair's. The firm took over at a point.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you ask of the diplomats, the two diplomats we cited are the top peg, the highest level of our diplomacy. For instance, Mr. Alifo at a point acted as Ghana's High Commissioner to Canada after the exit of Ni Ayikwe Otu in 2021. You also have Florence Akuno, who got a little, I think close to about $5,000. These are not funds that she cannot £4,000 actually. These are not monies that we will say that our topmost diplomats cannot afford and go to school. Particularly when we have a situation where we reject an applicant who needed just 4,000 cedis for UCC and couldn't get it for his master's.
Okay.
But we can afford.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for those details, Seth Bokpe. Now, there is the one that you flagged and said that the person never really went to the school, but the evidence supplied to you by the Secretariat itself shows that money in Ghana cedis in excess of, is it how much? Almost 300,000 or so had been paid to the university. What are they telling you about his situation? Are they going to recover the money or what? Because the person never went to the university.
That has not been addressed. That issue has not been addressed by the Secretariat.
Okay.
And we are hoping that going forward, they will be able to speak to that matter.
All right.
And I think that at this point, it will also be very important for the audit service to step in and look into the books of the Scholarship Secretariat, because there are things that I think we probably could not find because, I mean, we do not have.
So what you were giving, what you were giving was for 2019-2020, correct?
Exactly.
And you were giving a list of 1,500.
531.
Great. Now, you had been pursuing this since March of 2021.
Yes.
So how come we are now hearing about it?
You are not hearing about it because we were given the documents in a hard copy. We asked for a PDF format, but we were giving it in a hard copy. And in fact, it took a whole year, about back and forth to get the document. At the point, when we first asked for it, they said that they needed the opinion of the AG on it because it contains private and confidential data. And then we had to go to the
private and confidential data.
Yes.
The Vice President has said from 2020 or so that everything was going to be transparent on the website.
Well, apparently it wasn't so because...
Okay, so the AG wrote and said what? They should give the information to you or you were denied?
No, after that, they did not even mind us. I mean, so we had to we wrote an internal appeal, they didn't mind us. So we eventually ended up at the Right to Information Commission.
And the commission upheld that they had to give you the information?
Exactly. But that they should redact the private data, including phone numbers, student IDs, and things like that.
And you feel it's a punishment that they decided to give it to you in the manner they did?
It was a real punishment because my colleague, who I worked with on this story, Thelma Dede America, brought it to her, had to type this out, every single name. And then we had to cross-check again using the book to ensure that we didn't make any mistakes.
All right. In the era of digitalization and digitization, I'm sure the sector minister and the vice president will not be excited about that.